click is all it takes to lose everything.
We are in a cyber war. You can either be a defendant or you could be a victim.
All changes must go through the change control board. All changes must go through the change control board. But Eric, what? All changes must go through the change control board. I will tell you one of the number one reasons why organizations get into trouble, have vulnerabilities, is because they don't manage change in their environment. They have a good secure build, they roll that out across the environment, and people start tweaking, modifying, or changing those systems. People are not aware of those changes. They create exposure points and vulnerabilities, and that's how adversaries break in and exploit that weakness. So if you want to have a robust environment, there is no negotiation, there is no debate. All changes go through the change control board. And I'll often get people go, but Eric, what about minor? All changes go through the change control board. Here's why. If you go in and you start saying minor changes don't have to go through the change control board, what do you think is going to happen? Of course, this ain't your first rodeo, right? All changes will become minor. If you give somebody a little bit, they're going to take a lot, right? So if you start making an exception to the rule, saying minor changes don't have to go through the change control board, expect everything to be minor. Now, here's the other bigger reason. Define minor. I have seen cases where 2 lines of code have crashed an entire server. I have seen cases where 1 line of code has created a vulnerability in which 50 million records was stolen and compromised. So the problem today is our servers are so complex and so interrelated that we really don't know what minor is. We think it might be a minor, inconsequential change, but it could have a major impact in our environment. And I'll prove it to you. I was doing some work for a large financial institution, and it was around 10 a.m. in the morning, and all of a sudden I noticed everyone running around. Woo! I mean, everyone, high commotion, craziness. So I knew there was a problem, so I went up to somebody and said, what's the issue? And they said, the online bill paying portion of our banking app isn't working, and our customers are furious and complaining. And a few minutes later, they said, Eric, can you help us solve the problem? I said, great. Now, when I troubleshoot problems, I'm a pretty simple guy. I basically ask a few questions. First question, when was the last time we know it was working? And they said, well, we do a baseline test at 8 a.m. every morning. Great. 8 a.m. it was working, 10 a.m. it wasn't. Did you make any changes during that 2-hour period? And they go, Eric, we didn't make any changes that would impact this app. Okay, let's try this again. That's not what I asked. Let's go again. Did you make any changes? Eric, we didn't make any major changes. I'm like, listen, I'm getting paid hourly, so we can go out this all day. Finally, when I kept pushing them and saying, did you make any change at all? They said, well, yes. At 9:30, we changed the logo on our homepage. And I said, okay, I know changing the logo on the homepage shouldn't have any relationship to the online bill paying portion of your application, but I'm a simple guy. If that's the only change you made and it broke, can we just put the app back? Can we just put that logo back and see if it fixes it? They go, Eric, you're wasting our time. This has nothing to do with the problem. Now, I can be an APT if I need to be. Now, normally, my clients call me an APA, an advanced persistent, you get the idea. So I can be persistent if I need to be. So I'm like, listen, guys, let's just do that. So finally they did. Now, here's the crazy thing. We put the original logo back, and the app worked. New logo stopped working. Original logo worked. New logo stopped working. I kid you not, but after 5 times of doing this, the lead developer looked at me and said, I'm still not convinced this is the problem. Okay, now, to be fair, I think what he meant to say is he doesn't understand why it was the problem, and neither do I. But the point of it is this. If they would have had all changes go through the change control board, they would have tested, verified, and realized this broke the app, and they would have never rolled it out. But because they thought it was a minor change that was inconsequential, they didn't do their testing, and they impacted their customers for 5 hours because of that. So learn from others. Don't repeat their mistakes. And remember, all changes must go through the Change Control Board. And if you do that, you'll have a good, solid basis for security.